Hey there, everybody. Hope you're having a great day or evening wherever you might be. I'm getting some loud notifications just as I go live, so I'll have to deal with that. But I am experimenting of sorts, but I have a great subject to experiment with. It's kind of timely, too. The experiment is I'm using the HAPS online platform, haps.tv, to live stream, and I'm using their first words that come to mind are OBS, but it's not OBS, which is a popular live streaming app. This is the HAPS Broadcast Studio, and it functions in much the same way as OBS or some other live streaming software that you might be familiar with. And one of the really cool things that I'm glad to see incorporated, like you would in some other software, is the ability to upload media and play that back during your live stream. So I wanted to give that a shot. And in thinking about what to share, what video to upload, I could have gone, short and sweet with just a simple video clip. But then I thought about what's been in kind of in the talks that I've been having with some folks online recently. It's included the herring spawn. The Pacific herring is a small fish, and they spawn in the Puget Sound and going north into British Columbia area, very much so, especially around Vancouver Island. And it's going on right now. And a year ago, there was a situation where, and let me turn on comments because I don't want to miss your comments. So you guys commenting? I got to get used to working in this broadcaster application. No comments yet. Okay, so a year ago, my friend Janine on Vancouver Island noticed the spawn happening. Wasn't sure what was going on at first. There was just a lot of there were thousands and thousands of birds, some sort of duck apparently. And I wanted to learn more. And then there were sea lions, and then there were killer whales. So I put a shout out not only to Janine and her neighbors, but to other people online who were getting video and photographs of that area and documenting it. And they graciously shared their photos and video with me. And Janine went out day after day and shot video and shared it with me on the cloud so I can pull it down. And I wrote and edited something together with that collection of contribution, if you will, to help tell the story of the herring spawn. So it's about a 10-minute video, and I thought I would just kind of test HAPS and see how well it does here with, I think that was a 720p video. It may have been 1080p, but I'm pretty sure it was a 720p file that I uploaded to YouTube. Yes, it was. And I thought I would share that here. And it looks like Tom is here. Hey, would-be Tom, great to have you here. So we'll see how HAPS handles this. And hopefully I press the right buttons to make it play properly and so that you can both see it and hear it. I will say that what's good, two things, just to be on the alert. Right off the top, you're going to see me again doing an intro, me 1 year ago, because this video is 1 year old now. And you'll see the words pre-recorded appear because HAPS gives you the option when you play a video, you can put pre-recorded on it if it's not live. So the segment that's coming up, you're going to see me a year ago introducing the video again. It's kind of a long intro, but I like to think that the payoff is there when you get to what happened up on Vancouver Island. And Ivani Franco is here watching on Facebook. Ivani, always nice to have you along. Thanks so much for checking out this broadcast. And fingers crossed, let's hope this goes well, because I could see in terms of reach with the various social platforms, this has great potential. So let's see if I can make the magic happen here. With no further ado, this is a video that I called Fascinating Nature Journey. And here we go. Oh, that's not what we wanted. That's the countdown. I'm already messing up. So let's see if we can get that out of there. Nope, that's not going to do it. Right off the bat, you guys, I'm messing it up. So hang on. Kind of soothing music. So Mark will need to figure out how to get rid of how to get out of that when that happens. Okay, here we go. I clicked on the wrong one. I thought I had it at the top of my stack and I hadn't done that. Okay, now fingers crossed. Hi everybody, I'm Mark Horner. This video is going to be a bit different from what I typically upload, and that's because several people shot the video that you're about to see, and I shot none of it. This all started back in April when my friend Janine, who lives on Vancouver Island up in Canada, sent a video clip to my phone that featured several very active sea lions along the beach near her home. Then Janine sent me another video featuring thousands of black birds out on the water, appearing, as she said in her text, like small black islands. What kind of birds were they? And why were they there at that time? I had no idea, and Janine wasn't sure. So I took a dive into some research. Meantime, Janine kept going back to the beach day after day to shoot more video, usually shooting with her iPhone on a gimbal just like this one. And as I continued to surf the internet for more information, I came across a Facebook page, Nature Nanaimo. It turned out several people were publishing their pictures and video from that same beach in Nanaimo to Facebook. I couldn't help but wonder, what if we could bring all of those clips together into one story, one video? So I reached out to the people who'd uploaded to Facebook, and they've agreed to let me use their photography in this video. A video that simply aims to share the same sense of discovery and fun that I experienced as I learned about all that wildlife churning the waters in Nanaimo. I want to take a quick moment right here up front to thank the people who've allowed me to use their photography for this story, starting with Janine Sadola, who was going out to the beach almost every day for the better part of 2 weeks back in April to capture video for this story. And then there's Doug Fraser. He showed up with his DSLR, a really good lens, and he got us much closer looks at the feathered creatures out there on the water. And then there's Mike Donnelly. He got some excellent video of the sea lions who were gorging near the shoreline in what looked like emerald green water. And last but not least, Vanessa Lugin. She captured the moment on video when killer whales entered the scene. I'd also like to thank still photographer Linda Stevens for sharing her beautiful photos. Most of what you'll see in this story was shot by Janine, Doug, Mike, Vanessa, and Linda. Thank you all. And thank you to the others who've kindly replied to my questions along the way and supported this project. This video also includes an interview with Janine. It was conducted via Zoom meeting back in April. And now let's go to that beach in Canada and see this event that stirs, and you might say spawns, so much excitement. Vancouver Island, formed from rocks born of volcanoes and an ancient sea. On this day, there's a new explosion of activity rapidly pulsating just beyond the shore at Neck Point Park in Nanaimo.
It's just spectacular. It's beautiful, it's magnificent, wonderful. It's like nothing that you've ever experienced before.
Out there, appearing like small islands the color of fresh black coal, thousands of birds. But what type of flying creatures are they? And why are they here now?
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen anything like it before.
Janine lives a few blocks from the beach, close enough to hear the clamor of sea wildlife, including barking sea lions. The shore offers a respite from a pandemic's self-isolation. Drawn to the sea air and beauty, along with the call of things wild, and the beat of the drum she plays with friends.
It seems to be a feeding frenzy out there right now.
A frenzy stirred up by the annual return of a fish from the deep sea, the Pacific herring. The herring come here to lay their eggs in the shallows near the shoreline. The eggs, also called roe, now attached to plants and such just beneath the surface. The male herring deposit their sperm or milt upon the eggs. As a result, the water surrenders its familiar deep blue, giving way to a milky green. From high above, such cloudy waters appear in streaks and pockets throughout the Strait of Georgia in March and April, causing quite a splash for many wildlife, including sea lions and sea ducks. A closer look reveals the identity of the black sea ducks. These are surf scoters. The herring spawn draws them here too. In the winter months, prior to the spawn, these scoters have been in nearby waters foraging mostly for clams, which require much more time and effort to hunt and digest. Seemingly all at once, they've now turned their back on the toll of toiling for clams. Their appetite now squarely focused on herring eggs for the next 2 to 3 weeks. During this window of time between spawning and hatching, surf scoters take longer dives as they gorge upon the energy-packed roe that carpet underwater plants. One herring may lay as many as 20,000 eggs during a single spawn. For these sea ducks, satiated bellies come early now, which might be one reason why surf scoters dive far less often during the herring spawn, making about 70% fewer dives per hour when compared to their winter clam hunts. Put it all together, and surf scoters spend about half as much time foraging underwater during the herring spawn than they do in winter. As the spawn winds down, surf scoters fatten up. Many have already paired up with mates. The time to migrate to northern British Columbia and Alaska is fast approaching. Up north, they'll nest and begin to raise their young. While not an endangered species, surf scoters have declined in numbers over the past 50 years. Prior to the migration from Neck Point Park, it's a boat that's on the move, heading straight towards the surf scoters and into their massive assembly within the Milt.
You know, it's a natural habitat, and they come plowing into the middle of it and disturb them and go by really fast. And I think someone should be out patrolling that and making sure that those types of things don't happen. I believe that it would be important to make things more educational and about wildlife so that people respect them more.
Did you do anything to report it, or did you not feel compelled to do so?
Oh yeah, I reported that boat going in there to wildlife and to fisheries. And when I did, the person at fisheries said they've had other reports of boats charging into wildlife areas as well.
a different day, it's not man, but orcas that enter Neck Point. Surf scoters scurrying to leave a lane clear for these killer whales. The orcas pass straight on by. And the beach carries on with the sights and sounds of nature.
It's so much like, a wildlife park, and it's all natural around here.
This is a different year. This is COVID-19. How does it make this experience and this occurrence, this pronounced activity, how does it frame, I guess, your appreciation for your day at the beach nowadays?
Well, there's nothing else to do but go to the beach or go for a walk. And it's really good because I think all of us are getting back to nature more. And we're not relying on going to the theaters when we have a theater right outside our window.
The featured attraction, the herring spawn, an annual limited engagement lasting about 3 weeks, captivating its audience of sea lions, surf scoters, and nature lovers all the while.
Hey, you're apparently still watching. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. If you do like this type of content, please do like and subscribe. And if you'd like more information on the Pacific herring spawn and surf scoters, we've put some links below the video. Thank you very much for watching.
So there we have it. I hope you found that interesting. And even Tom, who's now, I guess, watched it for the 4th time, Tom on Whidbey Island. Thanks again for going on that little nature journey with me. And what I should say with us, because it really was a collaboration of people I've never met in person. I never went to that location, but boy, did they provide me with some great video and photos and the opportunity to do some research. And so it's really cool when a collaboration like that can happen. You're most welcome, Ivani. Once again, really nice to have you here along with us, Ivani. And it's fun to use that right now because it was a year ago that happened, which means it's happening again right now. The herring are spawning once again, and they're spawning at Neck Point in Nanaimo, Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada, once again. They don't always go to the exact same spot. That's a tremendous hunk of real estate, the Georgia Strait, Vancouver Island, and what have you. So very large island. It dwarfs or makes Whidbey Island look very tiny. And Whidbey Island here in Washington is about 50 miles long and very narrow. When is my next nature adventure? That's a great question, Tom. But there's one, if you want to go to Nanaimo, you could only get across the border, right? Because the herring are spawning again, and Janine's been out there with her camera. And at low tide, it's just herring eggs galore all across the beach right now. So they're out of the water at low tide. It's just a carpet of herring eggs. And the birds, as you might imagine, are having a field day. Tracy N at Tracy N says, great video to see again. Hard to believe it's a year old already. I know. Isn't that crazy? Well, so what was neat about that, this was a really good test because that was a longer video and I was able to upload it inside of the HAPS broadcast studio. And that sounds mysterious, perhaps, if you're not familiar with it, but really you're just opening the Chrome browser. It's got to be the Chrome browser. You've got to be on a PC or a laptop. It won't work on an iPad in Chrome. I know that because I tried. So it's when you hear it's got to be in Chrome, only on a PC or a laptop, no iOS or devices, or to my knowledge, other tablets. So it was a longer video, larger file, and I think the playback is really smooth. It appeared to be on my end. Hopefully, it was on your end. When you use the Broadcast Studio, by just simply going to haps.tv inside of Chrome, and electing to go live, you do get a choice of whether you want to just make it standard or go with a higher quality. I'm hooked into Ethernet here, so I went for a higher quality and hoped that it would not impact you. And Zach is here. Hey, Zach. Great to have you here from England, as always, Zach. I should not always qualify it with from England. I don't know why I do that, but it's kind of cool to show the reach of these social media platforms, even though it's been going on for years and we've been doing this. Still nice to say as we all come together and share something in real time together. So another thing that was of interest to me, and I didn't start doing this until about halfway or maybe a little bit more than halfway through that video or this live stream. This Haps app with the not the app, but the studio inside of Chrome. Not only can I push the content, these live streams, to YouTube, Periscope for another day anyway, Periscope, because Periscope's last day is tomorrow, sadly, at the end of March, and Facebook. There's also an RTMP option, and so I use that to go to a live streaming content delivery network that I use. More on that in just a moment. Thank you. I appreciate that you love the video. It's appearing in Japanese, I believe that is, and I think that's my too soon to be 10-year-old son. For some reason, his YouTube channel, he did this to me the other day. I didn't know who it was. I thought I had someone possibly from the other side of the Pacific, and I think he was on the other side of the wall. He turns 10 tomorrow, and I think he's having fun with me right now, watching on his mom's phone, logged into his YouTube account. Don't call me out on that, please. You should do a goodbye scope tomorrow. You know, Tom, I really should. More on that in a moment. Let's talk about that. But just to put a bow on it. So what I did was I made it available. And this live stream right now, again, I joined it in progress in this method. But if you were to go to my website, my blog/website, beyond90seconds.com/live, or just go to beyond90seconds.com and click the live tab at the top if you want to do it that way. You'll see this live stream is in progress. You might have to press the play button, but that's yet another delivery option for people who, for example, may not have YouTube, may not have the Haps app or Periscope. None of us will shortly, or may not be on Facebook. So that's another option. So I'm going to keep that in mind as I go forward as a delivery output that would help make the content accessible. Oh, he's on the Chromebook. My son's on the Chromebook. That explains it. Okay. So yeah, tomorrow would be a very apropos time to do one last scope, Periscope broadcast, and then learn and train myself not to say the word scope anymore, because it's been 6 years of saying that word scope, basically 6 years this month. It's an abbreviated form of Periscope or going live. And so all of us who have migrated over to Haps, in part or full time in terms of our live streaming output, are going to have to get, or maybe we'll just accept scope and everybody will just come to terms with it. I don't know. Tom, I'll throw it out to you. Could talk about Periscope, but I also want to know what a difference a day makes, huh? You're on Whidbey Island here in Washington State. We had storms a-brewing yesterday before the skies finally went mostly clear, about an hour into twilight, hour after sunset. How's your weather out there today, my friend? So beautiful today. Dare I invite you in? I would be able to see you, no problem. I'll tell you what, I'll throw it out there and you're welcome to come on, and you don't have to if you don't want to. It's that simple. So I just invited you. And I can do that. I can invite people in as long as you're using the Haps app. Unfortunately, I can't reach out to you on Facebook or YouTube and bring you in live that way. For me to bring you in as a live guest, it appears I have to have you in the Haps app, and I can understand that. The architecture of the site, that would only make sense, actually. So that's there. It was so. I haven't even watched yesterday's replay in full and seen your entire segment when you appeared live with me yesterday, Tom. and it turns out you had bothered to step outside and show us. And I was explaining it in the chat while we were watching that herring spawn video just now. So yesterday I was live streaming with my iPhone 7 Plus, showing the storm. Tom accepted my invitation, and there's like a little icon, just a little icon in the top left where Tom appeared as a guest. And I thought I was only hearing him, but when I got home and I watched the replay on a monitor, I could see that it's a totally different view. You saw half the screen with the guest, Tom in that case, later Janine from Vancouver Island. That was all yesterday during the storms, and me on the left. So what I learned actually after Tom had appeared and Janine was appearing live, that if I just tap that icon, that small square in the top left corner on the phone, it will make that source, that live guest stream, whether they're showing themselves or what's out going on in the world in front of them, it will bring it to a much larger view by itself. I won't see myself, but that's okay. I don't need to see me. And I can make out exactly. I would have been able, if I had done that with Tom, I would have said, oh, hey, Tom, you're standing outside. That's a wonderful view. It looks like the skies are clearing finally. You guys got pummeled and you lost power, huh? And Tom might have soon said, yeah, my power's back, because it did come back, fortunately, in relatively short order. But anyhow, live and learn. That's part of the fun of live streaming, is to get out there and play and dabble and interact, ask questions, research, and bring it all together. And there's a new comment. Oh, Tom says he tried to join just now, but it said poor quality. Are you at home indoors on your Wi-Fi? Just curious. I think yesterday you were probably standing outside. And it was probably you know what? It seemed all the way around the quality was poor between Janine, me, and you yesterday. We were all out and about. I wonder if the weather can actually affect the cellular signal in terms of its strength. Because mine here in Snohomish, where I was at, I've done many good on good weather days. I've had very good quality in terms of the video while live streaming. And I noticed, because the HAPS app on the phone, it gives you some bars and it tells you whether you're great, good, or poor quality in terms of signal strength. I did notice that fluctuating quite a bit. So I do wonder whether it would only make sense, it seems, that weather would impact the quality of the signal. Home, but no Wi-Fi, just data. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thanks for considering it, Tom. I very much appreciate it. All right. Well, I can see, just speaking from the way this works, I can see where there could be some planned live streams scheduled out in advance, bring in a guest on a certain topic, even some stuff that's in the news. Thank you very much, Ivani. Even stuff that's in the news, that would be great. It's kind of cool the way I've got this set up. I'm actually, my PC's getting old, and it tends to make noises when there's a lot of memory intensive stuff. And this computer was the computer beneath me was built in 2013, so it's old. It was high powered for video editing at the time. So I'm using my wife's laptop, and it's a Lenovo, and it's costs a lot less than this computer, but this laptop is doing a fabulous job. And then I'm bringing in for a webcam. I'm using my Canon 7D, which those of you who have followed me over the years, that's the camera that I've been shooting photos and videos with while I live stream. But now I've got it atop a tripod with a ring light around it. And that's what I'm using for a webcam. And I'm able to do that using a piece of software called SparkoCam. And for this purpose, I think SparkoCam is really good. You have to buy a license for it. I think I paid, back in 2016, I think I paid around $60 for it, because I got all the available features with it. And so I'm able to use that as my webcam and bring it in. It tricks the computer or the laptop or the PC into thinking it's a webcam. I'm missing a couple of your comments. Let's see here. Tom says I could talk about the Patriots. That's very generous of you, but I think I'm going to pass. Unless that's what it's going to take to get you on and share your face on camera. I could do a little bit of that. Okay, I know your signal quality is apparently poor, you said. Check it again, and I'll bring you in, and I'll grill you on the Patriots. We'll see how well, let's see how good your Patriots knowledge is, because I can go back in time when it comes to the Patriots, decades. I imagine you could too, though, because you're right about my age. So that's a challenge. But what I wanted to do is, so then what I did is I brought a second monitor down and I plugged just a monitor into the laptop, and then I extended the screens. So I don't have the same thing going on both monitors, the laptop and the second monitor, which is connected by HDMI. So that means I should be able to share a screen. So let's try this. Let's go to share screen. Actually, what I have to click is, it says present, and then I get my options. So yes, I'm going to show what's on the laptop. Right now I'm looking at the monitor that's plugged into the laptop. All right, so let's double click on that.
Hi everybody, I'm Mark Horner.
Oh, why did it do that again?
This video is going to be a bit different from what I typically upload, and that's because several people shot the video.
Oh, that's
that you're
not
about
good.
to see,
Hang
and
on.
I shot none of it. This all started back in April when my friend Janine, who lives on
This is
Vancouver
hysterical.
Island up in Canada, sent a... Hi everybody, I'm Mark Horner. This video is going to be a bit different from what I typically upload, and that's because several people shot the video that you're about to see, and
Oh,
I
now it's a
shot
big
none
mess.
of it. This
So
all
obviously I've
started
got to
back
figure
in
this
April
all out.
when my
Hang on.
friend Janine, who lives on Vancouver Island up in Canada, sent a
Gotta
video
get out of
clip to
this.
my phone that featured several very active sea lions along the beach near her
Okay, so
home.
they said they
Then
have an
Janine
emergency
sent me
thing that
another
you can
video
do here. Let me try
featuring
their
thousands of
emergency thing to get out
blackbirds
and
out on the
reset.
water,
Here we go.
appearing, as she said,
Oh my God. I know you guys are commenting. I'm going to check that in just a second. What was I trying to share with you guys? Come on. Here we go. See if we can make that go solo. There we go. Oh, I broke out in a sweat when that happened. It's like, no. Dave Abrahamson says Jack Sigma, aka the Banger, approves. The pride of Illinois Wesleyan. Right on, Dave. And then Tom says fifth time. Fernando Moraes, thank you very much for joining. Oh, so earlier in the video, we saw a countdown twice, now a third time. And we also watched a 10-minute video, a nature video. So anyway, what am I sharing over here? So I am able to share my monitor. And yeah, let's just click on swans. And so in the future, if I ever want to share photos or a website or something like that, heck, we can just go to, we can go to, my website has a slideshow, which if you go to markhornerphotography.com and click on any of the galleries, you can do this. You can play stuff back as a slideshow. And we can see on the bottom there, it says there's an option to stop sharing. You can see that. That's good informational content for me. And let's hide this. Dave Abrahamson, I feel like my bird picture's pale in comparison now to the fine work that you've been doing. Let's see if I can bring something else in here. Well, look at that, you guys. How about that? And let's see if I can make it where we see less of me and more. Gonzaga still undefeated. Yeah, I actually had the game on off to the left here, Tom. They were up by 20 odd points. It didn't take long for them to separate themselves from USC in that game, did it? I mean, it was like 17-3 or something like that early on. I was watching the first half. There we go. Okay. So this might be a good way to share. Now, Dave Abrahamson, for you, if you were interested in doing something like this, the Haps.tv, this solution is not too complicated, but it would be a neat way. There are many other ways to do it as well, but great season. Yeah, great season for Gonzaga. You know, it was interesting. I was listening to one of the panelists, you know, the guys you see in studio, whether it was Ernie, Charles, and Kenny and them. I think it was that group, and one of them was saying, wouldn't have been Ernie, that Gonzaga is not a, like a, they're no, what did he say? They're no early 90s or whatever it was, UNLV. Remember that team? Larry Johnson, Stacey Ogman, uh, Greg Anthony. They're not like that. They're not like that kind of a power that's just going to put up tremendous offense and bury you. But I get that statement, but if it walks like a duck, looks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, Gonzaga's they've had one close game, right? They've had 20, that stat that was showing at the beginning of the game was like 28 of 29 games have been by double digits or something. I think it was Virginia or West Virginia that they beat by 5. Great season. Yep, Tom. And that was a scary moment when that referee went down today. Okay, so what's interesting is now that I'm doing this, it seems that our slideshow needs a little bit of provocation because it was doing it manually. It's just amazing the power of what our fingertips now, and increasingly price points and free is free, right? Although you could say, is anything ever really free when you're including the internet? But by and large, it's there's a whole lot that's positive. I am hearing Okay, I had to mute that speaker all the way by turning a knob, pardon me. And let's see, there's the ad output. A lot of these swan pictures were taken here in Snohomish, specifically a local lake called Shadow Lake. That, though, this feather picture was taken up near Rockport, just outside of Rockport. Susan North. Well, looky there. How you doing, Susan? Great to have you here. You know what? I'm exploring the functionality of Haps.tv. It's broadcast studio, which is at haps.tv, HAPPS.tv. And so I was just taking advantage of an opportunity to share the screen here to indeed show that works pretty darn good. So I think enough of my website. By the way, that's markhornerphotography.com if you'd like to check it out. And let's see if we can bring this picture of me up full. There you go. I figured that out. That's a good thing. It has been a while, Susan. How are things in the Chicago area, Susan? And while I'm here, I'm just going to share the social handles with you. Haps has these things that you can prepare called notifiers, which is some text that can appear over the video near the top. And then they have what they call takeovers, which is what we in television would have called like a full screen Chiron or graphic or super. So I'm going to show you, take advantage of this opportunity to let you know how you can find me in other places if you're not already aware of it and you'd like to check it out. In addition to the photography website, let's see if this works. Here you go. So I'm on YouTube at youtube.com/beyond 90 seconds. Instagram, I'm at beyond 90 seconds. Over on Facebook, I'm Mark Horner Media. What's missing from this list, and that's the way it's just going to be, is Periscope. When I did that in the past and created graphics myself and then uploaded them, I would always tend to include Periscope. But in case you haven't heard, Periscope's last day is tomorrow. Twitter is ending it. People using Twitter could still live stream directly in the Twitter app. That includes with your phone. If you've got I have an iPhone, so I have the iOS Twitter app. And for me to do that, I just go to Twitter. I'll just tell you the steps. It's pretty darn simple once you know where to go. So you're going to compose a tweet, and you'll see the blank space for you to type. And right beneath that, you'll see like a little sound audio wave. You'll see a camera icon, and then you'll see stuff that's recently landed in your Photos app. Well, the first one I mentioned was audio. That's to record audio and then tweet it. The second one is the camera icon. And when I touch that, I get an option. I get three, video, capture, and live. So if I tap live, that's going to allow me to live stream directly to Twitter. So there may be instances where I just want to go strictly to Twitter, and maybe I don't want to go through the Haps app. Maybe I just want to keep it simple and really clean without a lot of stuff that you might see associated, and you do see associated with the Haps app, particularly at the top of the screen. I think this is everything here that you're seeing right now is default, but certainly some of that stuff, I imagine if I went into settings, I could adjust that. I've never established a goal of $10. Haps is doing that by default, and I'm not asking for money, although if it lands there, fantastic. So what am I trying to do here? I want to regain control of my mouse, and I've done that. It's interesting because some places, okay, the mouse is working beautifully now. So anyhow, that's it. This has been a pretty good experiment, I think, an opportunity to go in and make all of this work. I'm glad that I'm on an Ethernet connection. In addition to this option, I could do something which I did previously from this very chair, and that was not use this broadcast studio, but simply use my iPad, which I have right here. Here's my iPad. And just like the iPhone, the iPad has a Haps app, and I could use it, but I don't get all that functionality that we're using right now. I did a test earlier today using this broadcast studio, and I didn't play a video or anything, but when I went back and listened to it, I noticed that my audio levels were high or hot. And so they were a little overmodulated, or a lot overmodulated in places. So before I started this, I did turn down my audio levels on the hardware that I use for my microphone. So hopefully the audio's been decent and not sounding distorted or overmodulated. So that's going to do it. I think this was really good. Unless there's anybody that wants to jump on, I'll give it 30 seconds if you want to mention it real quick, and I'll go and see what the comments are coming in. I need to flip back over there. No TikTok, Tom. No, I'm not doing TikTok. My two youngest kids will give me, if I start talking TikTok, they tend to cringe. I don't know why, but they do. Susan says she's not very technical. Well, you know what, Susan? One thing of several things that I've learned about you over the years is you don't do Twitter. You're one of those people. Earlier in this live live stream, I mentioned something, and you would be one of the many people. Not everybody has Twitter. Not everybody is on Facebook. Not everybody's on Instagram. Some might not be on any of those things. So for that reason, I started it late, but I'm also streaming on beyond90seconds.com/live. And that's my blog. But if you just go to beyond90seconds.com, click the live tab, and you'll see it. It's there. So there's an option there as well. So thinking of accessibility, I want to make my content available to anybody who at least can establish a decent internet connection. All right. I've said it a few times. This will be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate. Sound like butter. Thanks, Dave. Like butter. All right. Thanks, guys. There will be many more of these to come. Some, if not a lot of them, on Haps, because this, I think, is going really well. I've got a good, stable system here. So thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody. So long.